Steven Greer, Emeritus Professor at University of Bristol Law School, is here now to talk about the new book that he's writing, Islamophobia and Free Speech, and how that fits in with the government's recently formed working group seeking to define the controversial term. Steven joins me now. Welcome very much to the show. Steven, you've been on the show before to talk about your last book. If we could just have a little rehash of that, which was based on an incident that happened to you at your university.
Yes, well, my previous book was entitled Falsely Accused of Islamophobia, My Struggle Against Academic Cancellation, a clues in the title. It was written to document and to rehearse the fact that I had been falsely accused of Islamophobia by the University of Bristol Islamic Society for having the temerity to refer the students to the critical literature about human rights and Islam. I was investigated by the university for 5 months and exonerated. But then the university, the BRISOC, the University Islamic Society, launched this vitriolic social media campaign to have me sacked and to have the module in question, Islam, China and the Far East, taken off the human rights unit in question. University inquiry exonerated me. The university itself announced my exoneration and at the same time said that the unit had been taken off the curriculum to protect student sensitivities, and it recognised the students' concerns.
Wow, so if you go and study this course at the University of Bristol, you'll come out of that course thinking that there are no human rights issues in Islamic countries.
Well, you may well, yes. You wouldn't have done that when I taught it. Yeah. But you might make that mistake now. That's
incredible. So, on a different subject, you had someone like Kathleen Stock, who was accused of transphobia, not Islamophobia.
Yes.
The University of Sussex has been fined a huge amount of money, over £500,000.
Yes.
Is there any chance of something similar happening historically with this case?
Well, I'm hoping there is a chance. I was all set to bring an individual complaint to the Office for Students last August, and then the incoming government pulled the plug on that like a few days before it was due to start. Right. So I've been left kind of high and dry, but I have a lot of very supportive friends and organisations out there, and they're mobilising to bring my case to the attention of the Office Students on their behalf.
OK, well, I'd like to talk now about the working group. Now, we've heard about this group on the show before. This is under Angela Rayner. She has started is to define Islamophobia. Now, some people, including myself, would say that Islamophobia in and of itself is a problematic term.
I fully agree. I think a much better term is anti-Muslim hatred.
Yeah.
And there is...
That is real.
Yes, of course, that is a problem, and it's a problem that needs to be tackled. But I would just draw a distinction between anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Anti-Semitism's about hatred against people, Semites, Jews. Islamophobia suggests the antagonisms towards the Islam as a body of ideas, and that's a distinction that's got lost in this debate. It's quite wrong, it's unlawful and illegal to cultivate or incite hatred against Muslims, but criticism of Islam isn't.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
Unlawful.
Because Islam is not a ethnic group.
No, it's not.
Jews are.
It's not. Yes,
It's an ethno-religion.
Yes.
And I don't have an issue, by the way, with anybody criticising the religion of Judaism by any means. I criticise it. In fact, the whole point of Judaism is it's a self-critical religion. That's what you do. You debate.
Yes.
But the danger here is, of course, is that this widening of, instead of anti-Muslim hatred or bigotry, to include any ideas of what they've talked about is Muslimness, which is a very loose term, deliberately so.
Yes.
The argument.
Yes. Well, the thing about Muslimness is it's confused because you're only a Muslim by virtue of the fact you believe in Islam. So it's Islam that comes first. Muslimness is in the kind of tailwind or is conditional upon believing in Islam. So it's Islam is the issue. But as you say, Islam is not a race, therefore criticism of Islam cannot be Islamophobic.
And we don't have blasphemy laws, and that's the issue here, is that this might be they're saying that this could be sort of some sort of blasphemy laws through the back door, but also this could be the racialisation of what is a religion.
Yes, I mean, it's all very, very sinister and unwelcome. And intellectually very incoherent. Yeah,
and you're writing a book about it, so I mean, there's obviously enough subject matter there to write it. Do you think, as I do, that this is almost a sort of defining moment within Western democracy in terms of the survival of our democracy being predicated on being able to criticise ideas and ideologies?
I do, yes. And I think there are threats coming from both directions. I mean, there's Trump's campaign against free speech from that direction. We've got it in this country coming from the other direction. Yes, it's very, very... The importance of free speech, of course, is that unless you have free speech, all your other rights become vulnerable. Because unless you can speak out about... speak truth to power, then you can't draw other violations of rights to the attention of people who need to hear it.
Cool. And how is the book going? When do you think it'll actually be out?
In a few months.
A few months, OK.
Yes, so I've submitted the final draft, and it'll be out in a few months. One of the things I want to...
get a free copy?
I mean, you might.
You didn't say no.
You might. One of the things I try to do in the book, which is missing from the debate about Islamophobia, is try to define what Islam is, because there's a lot of confusion about that as well. And the Muslim students accused me of being Islamophobic for saying some things that were uncontroversial about Islam. They were true and uncontroversial about it. So
I guess that's the point of it. Well, please, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause here for Emeritus Professor Steven Greer. I have a statement here from Angela Rayner, who is saying, what is she saying? The Deputy Prime Minister saying that the rise in anti-Muslim hate crime is unacceptable and there's no place in our society. That's why we're committed to defining anti-Muslim hatred / Islamophobia as a critical step forward in tackling it and creating a society where everyone feels safe and welcome. And Professor Evelyn Welch, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Bristol, said, I fully understand Professor Greer's concerns. However, we simply cannot dismiss a formal complaint from our students without investigating it fully. The complaint against Professor Greer was not upheld, and we publicly announced this on October 2021, confirming we had found no evidence of Islamophobic speech within the module he taught on human rights or any discrimination or harassment within the material. We also acknowledge the regrettable impact social media activity had on Professor Greer.